Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank over here in Southern California using the X-T5. And one of the things about the X-T4 that I did exactly like this test was that it could not focus with a 16mm f1.4 lens. It would hunt. And there was a lot more light, actually. I'm looking at the previews right now, and I'm pretty shocked that the camera can focus very nicely. And I don't hear the hunting that it usually does. I'm impressed. Although I'm not in continuous autofocus, but it is on face detection. Well, there is no more face detection, right? It's eyeball detection. Okay, so it's an eyeball detection. Right now I'm using a fat gecko to holding the camera. But one of the things about the settings right now, which I did on the X-T4, and by the way, I also did it on the X-T3 and the X-T2. And none of those cameras did very well in continuous autofocusing when you have basically face detection. And especially at night, but right now I think it's doing very well. When I go home, I'll find out. But right now I have the ISO is on automatic, so it's at probably 12,800. It's on classic neg. It's using its own microphones, built-in microphone, which by the time the X-T4 came around, they had great preamps. Probably the X-T3 probably did too. The shutter speed is at, let me lower this down a little bit. The shutter speed is at 1/48th of a second, because I'm doing 23.98 frames per second. It's, what is it? 4K, but sampled from 6K or something. So it's really nice. I know that if I'm watching this afterwards and I pause it, I can see noise. But when it's running on the viewfinder, I don't see too much noise. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm pretty sure there's some noise over here somewhere in the shadows. At 12,800, I will be surprised if it doesn't. The f-stop is at 1.4. You need, well, no, you don't need to get a 1.4 lens, but a 1.4 lens is definitely a plus when you do like something like this, which is in a dark environment. Right now I'm over here in Orange County in Bolsa Chica State Beach, and you know, there's some lights over here, street lights, but in the parking lot there aren't many, only in the corners. I do have my moonroof or whatever this is open, and if I put on some light, I'm pretty sure you can see me better. As a matter of fact, you probably can see me way better, and maybe not as much noise. I don't know what the ISO is. Why? Because I don't have a flippy screen. And let's not rant about that, right? I know it's not a hybrid camera. It's a dedicated photography camera, which is baloney. It is a hybrid camera. And yes, it is the flagship. You know, they say the H2 is, but the H2 is just a beginning platform. And yes, it does seem to be more video centric, but I'm pretty sure the GH5 could really kick some butt. GH5 has probably a lot more video centric tools, but let's not get into that. Let's get into the X-T5. Does it do a good job? And like I said before, the previews look great, and I don't hear the hunting. Well, there is kind of like a little bit of noise in the road, but it's pretty incredible. The camera system is not acting up as the original X-T4 when I first tested it. You know, I also have the this like what do they call this? The is it the task light? Let me put my finger over it, right, and then you know, remove my finger. That's telling me that I'm recording. Could it be that there's enough light, and it does look like that, the task light might be enough to be shining my face and giving me that extra little light that I need. Imagine if I had just a tiny little light, something to put my, you know, shine on my face. I wouldn't be at 12,800. I would probably be half, maybe at 6,400. And whoa, 6,400, if I can record at that ISO, I would probably be okay. Now, this video is not about basically, you know, my content as much, more as the quality of the video. And like I mentioned, classic nag. I'm kind of liking classic nag. It's definitely a little bit better than it was at Eterna, I think. My favorite is Velvia. I feel that's pretty neat. I don't like Acros as much as I like monochrome. I don't know. Acros doesn't seem to give me that crunchy black. Monochrome doesn't either. I'm gonna go over here under the light, and you'll see a big difference in terms of the exposure and the quality. Ah, here we go again. Grief. That, my friends, is the Fat Gecko. Don't get the Fat Gecko for this camera. It's unfortunate that the Fat Gecko can't even, you know, maintain this weight. It's not good for it. Okay, I do have another video that shows this, by the way. All right, so hopefully you got a sense of how, you know, the X-T5 reacts in a real condition situation, right? It's so funny how they put the camera in like very well lit situations. I remember, and I'm gonna move this a little bit. There we go. I know I'm out of frame. I remember when the XT, I remember the XT1, but I just don't remember so much. I mean, I really love the XT1, but I really can't quite remember how it was. I know the XT2 was like a big advancement. But what I'm trying to say here is that the XT5 seems to be a next step in the evolution of the XT bodies, or the XT, you know, a system. If you had an XT2 to the XT3, there was a big difference in autofocus. And then the XT3 to the XT4, a little bit, especially when the firmware update was on. But there was no way it would keep focus on me. And I remember being on the freeway with the XT4, and it was a much clearer day. I mean, much more light, but the shadows would be getting in the way. And one of the things about the XT cameras, it will detect your eye and your face. And it's so funny how the people that review these cameras, oh, it's focusing. Yeah. No, actually, they wouldn't say that. They were like, it's detecting your face. It's giving you confirmation of things going well. Yes, it does detect, but it doesn't focus very well. X-T5, so far, like right now, I can't hear that hunting. And I remember I would hear that. It's possible that the algorithms are better for this particular lens, because this lens, 16f 1.4 is amazing. I don't think you'll ever get anything so beautiful. Some people say yes, the 23 is really cool and whatever. I know that the, what is it? Oops, the 53, I think, right? That is a beautiful lens. But the hunting is just horrible. Because it's, the other cameras also had the, contrast focusing. This one has other type of technology that is helping phase detection, I think. I guess sensor or pixels. Either way, I think I am going to be hopefully impressed. I gotta take it back home and check it out. All right, I'll see you later. I hope this test was useful. Bye bye.